Picture this. You're on an adventure trip with your best friends, laughing, joking, full of life. You think this journey will be one of those unforgettable memories? But what if the same journey turns into the most terrifying game of death? This is the story of Evelyn Rose, a 25-year-old full of dreams and fire. She went on a trip with 6 friends, a trip that would write their names in the pages of history forever. November 15th, 2021. The skies were clear. Evelyn boarded a small plane called the Wonder, along with her friends, Liam, Chloe, Ben, Maya, Nova, and their pilot friend Jake. Their dream: to witness the most mysterious place in Antarctica, the Phantom Glacier. As the plane sliced through the clouds over the endless white desert, the cabin was filled with laughter, selfies, and playful teasing. Evelyn gazed out the window, her eyes shining. It was as if another planet had unfolded beneath her. But behind every beautiful scene lurks a shadow of fear, and that fear was about to strike. The weather turned without warning. The blue sky dissolved into a wall of white. Within seconds, the Wonder was trapped in a violent snowstorm. Winds screamed, metal groaned, and Jake wrestled with the controls. But ahead was only death. Liam squeezed Evelyn's hand. Chloe screamed in terror. And then, an earth-shattering crash. The Wonder slammed into something unseen. Darkness. Silence. When Evelyn opened her eyes, all she saw was snow. The wreckage of the plane, seats drenched in blood, and the frozen bodies of her friends. She was the only one alive. She cried out, "Liam, Chloe, Ben!" But the only answer was the whistling wind and the hollow silence of the endless ice. She made shelter in the broken cockpit, gathered what little she could find: protein bars, a torn blanket, a half-broken first aid kit. Deep inside, she knew it wouldn't last long. Days passed. Hunger gnawed at her. The cold bit into her bones. At night, she heard voices, Chloe's laughter, Liam calling her name. She feared she was losing her mind. And then, the day came when the food was gone. Starvation burned inside her. She tried eating snow, but it only poisoned her stomach. Her hands shook, her eyes sunk deep into shadows, and then, her gaze fell on the frozen bodies of her friends. A thought so dark, so forbidden, entered her mind. Could she break the ultimate boundary of humanity? To stay alive? For days she fought it, cried, cursed herself, but hunger devours hope. And when her strength had drained away, Evelyn did what no human ever wishes to admit. Her trembling hands reached out, tears slid from her frozen lashes, and she took the first bite. In that moment, Evelyn felt she wasn't just eating flesh, she was swallowing a piece of her soul. Every morning she carved a mark on the wreckage wall. 10, 20, 50, then 100 marks. For 100 days, Evelyn lived inside that icy graveyard, surrounded by the corpses of her friends. But somewhere deep inside, a flame still burned. On the 100th day, she decided, enough. I will not wait to die here. I will walk out, even if it kills me. She layered on every piece of clothing she could find, forged a crude weapon from broken metal, packed the only food she had left, the dried flesh of her friends, and stepped out into the blinding white desert. The wind sliced her face. The sun scorched her eyes. The nights froze her soul. She collapsed again and again. Her toes turned black. Sometimes she lay for hours on the snow, but each time she rose again with one image in her mind: her mother's face. She hallucinated green forests, glowing lights, her friends walking beside her, but they were all illusions. Still, she walked. One day, the ice cracked beneath her and she plunged into freezing water. Her breath stopped, but somehow she crawled out weaker than ever, yet still alive. Days turned into months. Evelyn was no longer walking, she was crawling. Her body a skeleton, her skin torn, her blood painting the snow. And then, in the distance, a flickering light. At first, she thought it was another hallucination. But the light stayed. It was real. It was human. Strength surged through her broken body. Inch by inch, bleeding, dragging herself across the ice, she crawled toward that light. Until finally, her hand touched a steel door. With the last breath in her lungs, she whispered, "Mom," and collapsed. After 205 days, 100 days in the wreckage, 105 days on the ice, Evelyn Rose had survived the impossible. She woke in a warm room surrounded by strangers. It was a Russian research team. Her tears flowed, but for the first time in months, they didn't freeze on her cheeks. This isn't just a survival story. It's proof of the human spirit. Evelyn Rose, the girl who endured 205 days in an icy hell, showed the world that the will to live can be stronger than any storm.